ask, isn't everybody on this? And it's nobody can decide how they want it on daylight savings or the regular time.
Yeah, suck gallons up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Skills for Life, or RET Skills for Life. Tonight, we're focused on choice and accountability. We have, let's see, in the first of our little, let's see if I can get this back up here again. Okay. Thought creates reality. As we think, so we are. And since all thought is creative, every thought sends out creative energy. Perception is the way you interpret those thoughts and the world around you. It's how your mind makes sense of people, situations, and experiences. And interestingly enough, I believe in RET that perception is one of the most powerful skills for life because it shapes how you feel, how you react, and what you believe is possible. Now, choice and accountability is believing you always have a choice, but believing you have no choice makes you feel powerless. So choice is ever present, even when circumstances are difficult. And true responsibility equals response ability. And cause and effect, well, energy is never lost. It must be resolved. And the universal laws of cause and effect teach that the energy doesn't just disappear. Unresolved experience remains active in the system until it is addressed and released. When we move on to abundance, it's a natural state of the universe. We are always experiencing abundance. What changes is what we experience at the end. We receive abundantly according to what we believe we are worth. So we create our thoughts we create our abundance through thoughts and emotions. It's kind of like the universe's response to what we think and feel. And energy activates it according to where we place our attention. So what we focus upon grows. And gratitude is that power that brings creation into form. It focuses our attention on what we value, which magnetizes those experiences into physical reality. Gratitude brings thoughts into manifestation and helps us feel aliveness. And your mind and body work together as one system in health and healing. When something feels off, emotionally or physically, it's your inner guidance system asking for attention, not because something is wrong with you, but because your system is trying to heal. So your mind directs your body, and it has a powerful influence on how the body feels and responds. And in our community, we have, to the left, we have these help, my hair is on fire. It simply says, it simply means that if you ask for help in our community, you don't have to explain why. It's just help is on the way. Just ask for it and the energy is there. And I have our rapid eye 4-step self-care protocol, which is an essential protocol when you are in a situation where you need a little extra grounding, something to keep you going in a tough situation. And it's kind of a process of exchanging what you have right now, which might be anxiety, or you might feel depressed or upset about something, and replacing it with something else, exchanging it. It's all energy. And as we go along in life, we have occasionally, or probably more often than we like to admit, something that kind of reminds us that we need to kind of change our path. We call it the universal 2x4. It may be a little bit able to ignore it, but if you do it too long, well, along comes the Mack truck, which are things like well, let's say like cancer, or maybe somebody gets, something really makes you question what you're doing in this life, and so, and hopefully that time um, if you are in pain, that you're also following this little acronym: pay attention inside now. I always love that body chart. You can look up like what pain is occurring in the body, and it kind of gives you a clue what you need to work on next. And sometimes when you're going along, you might say something like, I'm always tired. And a good thing to say is cancel that. I have so much energy left, and why is it easy for me to continue on and to keep going until I'm finished? And so this tool about cancel that is very important to use that. So as we transition, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have a little presentation. Let's see if I can, okay. And slideshow from the beginning. Okay. Choice and accountability, RET skills for life. Practical tools for everyday decisions. The foundations of choice and accountability. We have a core idea. You may not control circumstances, but you can choose your response, moment to moment, thoughts, interpretations, emotions, and actions. Accountability without shame. Own what you chose, and the outcome. No blame or self-punishment. Shifting from it made me feel restores agency and options. And why it matters? Well, it bridges insight into action. Interrupts old patterns and relationships, stress and habits, building trust, reliance, resilience, and lasting change. Choice beyond circumstances. Choice is internal, even under pressure. RET highlights micro choices. How you interpret an event, what meaning you assign, and what you do next, regardless of stress, conflicts, or triggers. Same event, different response. Workplace criticism can become a personal attack. Defensiveness or an input for growth, curiosity. Differences come from practiced internal choices, not luck. So in my experience, I had somebody that came after a year of working in a job. I was really happy with they were happy with my performance. Everything was going great. Someone new comes in, and he quickly convinces management that he should be a manager. And then he just starts to make my life hard. Let's put it that way. Has anyone else had that experience?
I think that I personally have, being on the more of the manager end, you develop a quality or a style. And what I always try to do is, what is someone good at? And let them be the head of that. You know what I mean? Let them do what they're good at. And that's really worked for me over the years. But sometimes, if two people have different ideas about how it should be, it can be difficult. But as in most things in life, it's communication, communication, communication. You have to talk about it, and everyone has to have accountability for what they say, and how they in using tools and skills. So that's how I've encountered that.
Well, um, as I get further from that experience, I understand that it may have been the Mac truck, because I was just having a hard time letting go of I'm a technical writer and that's all I could do, and kind of made me rethink, like, well, and then that's where I kind of decided that I wanted to become more involved with the vision of the rapid eye. Kind of came back to me. I'll just put it that way. And so maybe it was the best thing for me. It just took a little bit of a yeah, it did take a bit of a smack to get me wake up.
Well, I'm really glad that you got that good kick in the pants. Yay.
And the pause restores access to choice. Automatic reactions run on old patterns. Create space with breath awareness, a quick body scan, or asking, what am I choosing right now? Feel emotions fully, then act in line with values. So instead of maybe feeling like I want to say something sharp or angry, I pause and think about, well, how am I going to handle this? I think I've seen Tyler, he really exemplifies this ability really well. I've been impressed with how he's handled some really difficult situations. I've never seen him. Well, I mean, I just think he does a really good job with that. Um, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Tyler. I just saying that. Shout out to you. You know, I think you do a good job with that. Okay. Accountability and personal power. Without blame, victim versus empowered. So accountability without blame or shame. Does that seem kind of weird to say that to anybody? I think when I talk to people, they always look at me like I'm a little bit like, what? I thought that was the whole point. You know, being accountable, you're supposed to be ashamed. But neutral ownership, not judgment. Acknowledge your role in thoughts, emotions, choices, and outcomes without blame towards self or others. You turn the setbacks into feedback. The place I always fail with, well, what choice did I make? And what can I adjust next time? Um, Protect identity, but change the behavior. So you're not wrong, your actions are adjustable. This builds safety, honesty, trust, and resilience over time. I mean, a little bit of shame is good because it kind of gets you back on the, to adjust. But I just hope that, when we're working with ourselves, we're being able to uh, make another choice.
I
I hope
like
it's,
to call that feedback instead of shame,
yeah,
that you're able to hear feedback as news instead of I'm wrong.
yeah.
And I'll add in that I really like the other word I am training myself, reminding myself is awareness. I'm working at observing a lot more. It's fun to get caught up in the energy of a big discussion and share what comes to your mind, and there's a lot of things that I take my time to feel FEEL, and yet there's oftentimes I get really rapid too when there's an exciting conversation or ideas are sparking back and forth, and I've needed to remind myself to roll it back and observe a bit more. And so, like you and Alan, you and Linnell were saying, I I'm going into observing, giving myself that additional breath. It not only gives you an option for choice, it gives me more understanding of what's unfolding in the conversation or in the experience. I hope that relates to somebody because I can shame myself into a lot of things, but it's never very productive.
Oh, I like that. Thank you.
Yeah. I also have, now I understand my awareness, like that word shifted for me too, Marion, because once I realized I had the ADHD, there's a particular part of that where I have an intense physical and emotional reaction to criticism. And for me it would go directly to shame, and it would go to a physical reaction in my body of I'm wrong and bad, and I had to be aware of that so that I could shift how I behave in those situations, because I would beat myself up so bad about it, and that wasn't serving me. It wasn't helping me.
Do you know what else happens with that? Is there's times when I've interpreted criticism when it really wasn't. It was information.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, how did I bridge that into criticism and take it so heavy in my heart and in my mind? And it really was literally simply information. So, Alan, thank you for allowing that to unfold a little bit.
You know, it's unfortunate when it really gives us a bump in the road, so to speak. You know, there's so much that we're having to stop and change a tire. You know, just it does so much emotional damage. So victim mode versus empowered mode. Life feels like it happens to you. Common signs: blame, helplessness, resentment, waiting for others or circumstances to change. Empowered mode: challenges are real, and you still choose your response. Ask, what can I do differently? And what's within my control right now? And how to shift: notice victim thinking without judgment, then redirect to choice and accountability. Victim mode replays the past, and empowered mode acts towards the future.
Say that again. It's beautiful.
Would you like to read it? Or say it?
Yeah, Nancy, let's hear it in your voice.
Yeah.
The victim mode replays the past. Empowerment mode acts toward the future.
Thank you. I noticed that I've been struggling a little bit with that. I feel like sometimes I feel like things are happening, they're stacking. I'm just saying, wow, I must be so empowered to. This wouldn't happen unless I could handle it. So I'm good. I can do this. Take the first step.
Well, and the thing that stuck out to me that was the sentence, "What's within my control right now?"
Oh, I love it.
Because I know a lot of times, being a codependent, you think you can control things, especially other people's behavior. And that's been another big awareness for me, is what can I control right now? Well, I can control how I feel about the situation. I can control me, my behavior, and that's it. Everything
Right.
else is not up to me.
Well said. Thank you. I'm just pausing to give a chance if he wants to say anything, then I can move on. Okay. So applying choice and accountability daily. So we have awareness, notice thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations without reacting. This creates space for an intentional response. Conscious choice, select a response deliberately. Instead of defaulting to habit, choose actions aligned with your values and goals. Action and outcome, take the chosen action, observe the outcome. Treat the result as feedback for learning and growth. And then accountability, own the outcome. Reflect without blame, use insights to refine future choices, and prevent repeated patterns. Real life practice and reflection. An example is relationship triggers. When you feel criticized, pause, name the reaction, choose a constructive response, clarify, or share feelings calmly, then notice the outcome and adjust. And instead of blaming demands, focus on choices you control: routines, boundaries, and self-care, sleep, stress reduction. That supports better results. And reflection with compassion. Ask, what choice did I make? What was the result? What will I choose next time? And if you use journaling, group discussion, or guided RET, expect setbacks and keep going. I think one of my favorite
And
triggers. Oh, sorry. What was that?
the rapid eye model of making changes to change them on all four levels, our physical level, our mental level, our spiritual level,
Emotional.
emotional level. So to have all four to make a lasting change, part of the, and that's working well for me.
I notice I drive much more calmly. I know we talk about this a lot. I bring it up that's been one of the things I've worked on very consistently is allowing or cutting people slack while driving. When you're going the speed limit and someone's tailgating you and you're just going, I can't, this is not really fair for you to, be such an aggressive driver like this. And so I just kind of stay calm and as soon as I can, I'll turn off, maybe to give them a chance to go around me. But it's, and I
They
suppose,
probably have to poop really
Right?
bad.
yeah,
I was going to add to that just exactly what Linnell said. Literally, Lee and I jokingly look at one another and say, they really have to get home to pee. And we give them grace. We just go, oh, I know what that's like. They're just going to go.
yeah,
But too, if you're in a car with somebody else and you say that, or I mean, even while you're by yourself, because we've said it so many times, it becomes funny.
Yeah.
And it changes the energy on it. Because really, what you're doing when you get angry at somebody, you're bringing in cause effect because you're projecting at them how mad you are at them, and yeah, it's just going to come back to you. So diffusing it with humor is always good.
that's excellent. Yes. And after doing it, it does become a habit, which is nice because then it's not as hard to continue that pattern of extending a little bit of a grace to people that are around us. Hi, Cheryl. It's nice to see you. You turned on the video. And I guess that's my presentation. I'm not sure how long I took. Oh, I took only 20 minutes.
It was still
Boy.
awesome.
I really like the organizational style of it, Alan. It's that type of discussion and visual. I feel really confident about recommending people rewatch the recording because they're going to be able to pick up some things that resonate with them. I think that's a really excellent format.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. Well, it's just revealing me. I didn't. I haven't been presenting. This is my first time presenting, and so when we have a little extra time, so to speak, um, I'm not sure what to do. Do we open the floor to further discussion? Maybe somebody wanted to say something, didn't get a chance, or
I
I'll go for it. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
I was gonna say the fact that we are more than our experiences uh, is so telling about the choices that we make because we can control our story. Um, we may experience life one way, but every step of the way, we can choose how we experience it. And that is extremely powerful. So, I mean, and I remind myself of that all the time. I, the how makes such a difference.
Yeah.
I think it. something that is kind of intriguing to me is that emotions live in the body, and they cause and effect of your emotions and how they, like, for example, so I experienced cancer, had a tumor, and when I looked it up, it said anger is, like a compact, creates, it's one of the emotional, affects the liver, and it affects, and having that much, and I did have a lot of anger about things, some disappointments, and that I felt like, wow, that was really punishing for me. I must have really had a. And then as I started the process of releasing it, letting it go, and as the tumor shrunk, the liver started to heal. Um, I mean, I literally had a tumor that was the size of a basketball. Um, they said that there's no way you could shrink it, and yet the chemo did shrink it. But then I used Gerson therapy and a lot of faith. There was a lot of prayers, uh, there was a lot of healing circles, I guess, that were, the tumor did shrink until the point where I could no longer feel it. And then, of course, the surgeon was saying that's impossible. I can't believe it, even though you did it. And so but then again, I learned to extend, that understanding. From his point of view, this is not something that's not something that he ever could believe it could happen. Um, I guess that's how he makes his living, is removing tumors.
Well, you really researched also the Gerson protocol of juicing, and really took on, everything from a coffee enema to everything that you learned about that might shrink or help this tumor. And I don't think that now I've watched a lot of people over the years with exactly, well, maybe not your exact cancer, but exactly same condition. And I myself put leukemia in remission. And I'm telling you, they said, "What did you do? My cousin has that." And I told them, and they said, "Oh, I can't do that." And I said, "Well, you can if you want to live, you know, enough." But it does. It took everything. It took all my focus. It took time. It took my money and resources. And I watched you do it too, Alan. Maybe that's a trait in our DNA that we have, is if we have to, we can focus and
Well,
really do hard things.
I remember that you inspired me because I remember that you described what you did and how hard it was. Some of the juices that you made were not the most pleasant, but they
No,
were medicinal. And I did the same thing. I was putting in like ginger and turmeric, and I
hot.
also
Make some hot.
it makes them hot. Yeah, and sometimes I had to be careful not to drink too fast because the protocol actually says, the Jurison protocol says you drink 1 ounce every hour.
Yeah.
And so your whole day is taken up with, you eat oatmeal for breakfast in the morning. You're taking your juice for an ounce of it, and an hour later you're taking another juice, and then you're going into the coffee enema was interesting because it actually, the pain was reduced really, really well. I was surprised. But again, the whole process took time because I had to fill a bathtub. I put down this this self-inflating pad. I'd float in the water because I was so much pain. And then just trying to ignore all the grossness going on, while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And but it worked. I felt better. I felt relief, and I did that twice a day. And I also did the Essiac tea, which is the also called Cassie tea,
Yeah.
and that one is actually FDA approved, or you can say it does help with curing cancer. I don't know if anybody knew that, but that is one of
Yeah.
it's a
I
known.
made that. I was shocked at how much it made. And then, and it takes people, what they don't realize is it took a lot of years to create something called cancer. And so it takes a lot of time and focus. And you have to consciously choose in and be accountable to do those things. I mean, If there's
Yes.
one thing that cancer does, it makes you look at whether you really want to live or not. Do you want to live? Are you willing? Are you willing to do what it's going to take? And yeah, I got so sick of myself and my issues. You know what I mean? Because I'm running rapid eye on it too and trying to figure out. And it really bugged me that I seem to create life-threatening diseases. Why can't I just get a cold or the flu? I never got those. So yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of, you really have to choose uh, to really do whatever it's going to take. And the research, the time and research, remember that, Alan? Just tons of research.
Yeah, asking the questions, and then being willing to follow through, even when it
Yeah.
was uncomfortable.
And I really want to thank Marion because we were just finding out about QMAX at that time. And she has always been very helpful for me with essential oils and all kinds of stuff. But when you're doing 7 or 8 different protocols a day, to work on something like that, it's a big choice. It's huge. And so I think, wow, that's kind of being forced into choice and accountability if you want to live. What if we put that much passion into just creating our dream or something that we really wanted? Can you imagine if we gave that kind of focus to that?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do now.
Well, and I think on a smaller level, it happens as we're aging too. It's like, oh, it's a little harder to get out of the chair than it was before. What am I going to have to? Accountability. Okay. What do I got? How did I create this? And what do I got to do to make it a little easier on myself? And the same thing when I created kidney stones. I realized, well, it's the Tums. Well, when you got heartburn at 2 o'clock in the morning and you've already taken stuff, you really want that because you know you're going to feel better if you take it, but you can't have it.
It's
It
weird
is,
that Tums can help you with your stomach condition, but it also creates stones.
yeah. So, do you want
Oh,
more kidney stones, or it's like it's choice. It's a choice, and I watch it with my mom. My mom is diabetic, and she's type 2, and they've said for years you need to change your diet. And she says, no, I will not do that. So now she's on insulin, and she's got, she has problems with her eyes, and
oh,
she's got a long list of things going on for her. And it's all her choices. When you're faced with something big like that, how do you react to it? What are you going to do? Are you going to allow it to run its course, or are you going to do everything you can do to find something that's going to help it?
And do we go back to the teenage years? Remember when you were a teenager and you thought you were invincible?
Yep.
Nothing would ever put you down. Nothing could, be hard for you. And something that's so interesting, maybe in the rapid eye sessions, we can take a look at our own, what age am I when I'm denying that I need to be physically fit to age gracefully, like,
yeah.
am I willing to be committed enough to keep my muscles active, or for whatever, under whatever banner that we like to carry the umbrella of, oh, that's because I'm aging. It gets really simple to say, oh, that's just normal for my age, and you go, wait a minute, and yet there's so much research coming forth from many cultures and around the world that are examples of where, when we speak to our cells in our body, when we speak to our body systems, we make a difference. We hear ourselves, and our bodies respond. So it's, just like Alan said, he dug into, what did the tumor represent for him? Well, the same for us. What what does my weakness in a physical activity represent to me? Am I ignoring some aspect?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
It's so
it was the discipline of drinking something because you do onion and garlic together. It's hot, and you put ginger in it. Whoa!
Yeah.
But every time I would drink it, and I would think, okay, here's to life. I'm drinking this because I want to live. And I wish that I had decided to eat better 20 years before I created having to do all that. Okay. And sometimes the things I drank today, I told my friend Jacinta, because she was helping me juice. And I said, can we do it differently? Can we put it in capsules? Can I swallow it? What can I do that I don't have to actually drink it? And she said, knock it off. If you know it's going to save your life, drink it
That's
and
right. Yeah.
stop it. And you know what? If you've chosen to drink lemon in your water every day, you might have not created those stones in the first place or whatever it is you're dealing with. It's finding out, am I using all my tools and skills? Am I? Or am I just going to, do what I want to do every day and then end up having to do medical procedures because I'm stubborn? That I, and I struggle with the diabetic thing too. Because if you are changing your diet and you are doing what they say, plus what the alternative world, and you still have a high blood sugar, you, you you have to take a look at another level. It's not always all physical. It might be, okay? And I started asking myself really good questions like, when did I run out of sweetness in my life?
mhm.
When did I really start going, oh, you know, am I dealing with what I'm emotionally feeling? Or am I stuffing it in my pancreas? And my
Uh,
pancreas is rebelling. And taking true accountability, especially in health and healing, it's really hard, I feel like, to take full accountability
oh, it is.
for what I have created. And we've talked about that all the way from cause and effect now to choice and accountability about that. One thing I want to admit, the other thing you did, Alan, is you were willing to do the body work. You found a massage therapist that went to work on that tumor, even if you were screaming.
Yeah.
And you both were willing, you
I
know,
did it. I did it 3 times a week.
yeah, get after it.
It's like,
Get after it.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
and
like
then that,
Alan sometimes, and he'd say, I just got done. You introduced me a few times to your massage, your sport massage, really deep tissue work that you were doing.
yeah.
And my word, it was like he would just say, he's helping me. We're doing the deep work. And that was incredible. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I
Really good.
have a lot more empathy for with that kind of pain. If you're, I don't know, you experienced that pain. You had the boy, that was you have a. If I think about it, you had several close calls, so you must have been needed for this time, to stay around.
Well, it's the accountability of choosing to live for everyone. And a lot of us, we don't get it physically, but we get it emotionally. I mean, you go through a couple of divorces in your life and you can feel like death.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah, and it's so hard. I remember finding out, if you have a spouse that cheats on you, how that feels. My really good friend Mitchie Dawn is going through that right now. Bless her heart. I love her so much, and I know how much that hurts. And it's hard. You invest 43 years into somebody, and then you think it's a waste. And I said, no, it's not. It's all an experience, it's all learning.
Yeah,
And if you're not blaming or shaming either one of you, just do what you need to do. But I want to put out an HHF for Mitchie Dawn. for all of you that know her, she could use a lot of energy right now. And she's a tech and been to Souls with Stamina. Does anyone on, you know Missy Dawn, don't you, Tanya and
Yeah.
Marion?
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely. Thank you for
Yeah.
letting us know. I had no idea that was going on. And they have not only the years together with one another, they have descendants, they have grandchildren and their own children, and they're very close to all of them. And this is a big one. This is a
Yeah.
big one for her to go through. Thank you for
Well,
letting.
she told me, she texted me and said, I'm having a Mack truck.
Oh.
And when she told me the circumstances around it and everything, I wanted to just, well, it's hard. It's easier to get barfy about something when you went through it yourself.
Oh yeah.
And I remember how that feels to find out something like that. And it's just, I love and adore her. So yeah, those of you that don't know her, her name is Mitzi Dawn. Please send her energy, and she's got this. She'll make it. We all live through the hard things, but when we're going through them, we don't think we will.
And along that same line, Alan and Linnell, as you were sharing about what we go through, aspects that we can experience, it's another communication of what our body is, what has been stored in our body, what are the learnings, what is the understanding. Another thing that I've had just a few times, loved ones and people that I care so deeply about, and the way they rationalize was so funny. It was like, not funny, like I'm not making fun of them, but they thought, oh, well, I'm just going to die gracefully. And guess what? Their body keeps going.
Yeah.
And so they think, oh, I don't have to do any other work. I'm going to just demonstrate and show how to die gracefully. And now we're 5 or 7 years out, and their body keeps going. And they're like, I said I was going to die gracefully. What's going on? You know? And there,
Huh.
Yeah, and
and so
instead they
I
get
will,
in intense moments of pain
yep.
and things that they thought it's kind of hard to be graceful through.
Yeah. And so part of this aspect, I believe, is we designed our life. My working knowledge is, and I feel strongly close for me, that I designed out my life. I designed out the challenges. I chose in. Some of you'll recognize, I shouted for joy to come into this little planet in this part of the universe. And I think I set some things up that when the veil of forgetfulness, I don't remember setting it up this way, but I'm accountable that it's my experience. And man, if my body keeps going on and I'm like, well, wait a minute, I thought I was done. And actually, I had the exact opposite message. I had the message of, I don't think I'm done. And nobody showed up to pick me up. So I think I'm still here. But in the process, what I recognize is there's a lot more that we've put in place to learn and to experience, because Bené's going to do something uniquely her way, and Carol's going to do it her way, and Linnell's going to do it her way, and Alan and Tyler are going to do it their ways. And no one else brings that precious gift back. No one else can do it, Bené, the way that you're going to do it. And that will be your gift back to the universe or to Creator or Source or your Heavenly Father. Whatever terminology we choose to use, the most powerful gift we bring back to the wholeness of every experience is what we are uniquely experiencing. Because I'm never going to do it the same way Bené does.
That's right. That's exactly right. And you know what? That's the beauty of life, because we're on our own individual journeys. Like I could tell you my whole life experience, and I'm 42 right now, and I've gone through gallbladders and operation gallbladders and hernias. And when I went to the doctor and said, "Why is this going on with me when I'm 25 years old?" And he said, "Sweetheart, you're healthy, but how is your relationship with your husband?" And it turned out that emotionally, it was bad. And it was abusive in all aspects. And so my body took a hit from it. But it was just an experience at the time. I couldn't see that till later in life. And I'm so grateful for my ex-husband, because he taught me that people like him do exist. When I used to live in Cinderella, fairy tale, happily ever after, that people like that he had some trauma, something in his life that he didn't heal. And I was his punching bag for it. And it's sad, it happens. But I'm grateful for him. I could see him in a different light and be grateful, because those experience has taught me to grow in so many ways. And now
I'm so impressed that you had a practitioner, a physician, or someone you were working with that thought to ask about, to have you take a look at what is the relationship factor going on, that's showing up in our bodies, right?
Mm-hmm. My blood is good. I'm healthy. What is the cause? As doctors, they analyze all of that. And he's all like, "How's your relationship with your husband?" It threw me off. You and me both, my friend.
Was he saying that your relationship was to do with the hernia, to do with your husband, or your gallbladder?
With the gallbladder, I would get immense of pain, because I would be fighting with him. I was taking it all in, and so was he. We were both going through it. But that emotion, so real, so the adrenaline, that it hits the body, and that's what caused it.
So intense, right? So intense.
Absolutely. And I love my husband now, because he brings me a lot of peace. We could really talk, and it's just amazing. And when you're with
are you still married? Are you still married to him?
No,
are you still married to him?
Oh, no. I met a different guy, and he's amazing. So I'm married to this. My second. Yeah.
That's why she said her first husband.
Yes. Yeah. But just the experience, it makes us grow, and it gives us a lot of wisdom. And it really is how you take it. Like when I was younger, when I was 15, 16, 17, I used to be like all defensive when someone was talking bad about me. Now that I'm 42, I'm all like, let them talk bad about me. Who cares? Oh, that's interesting what they say. I want to protect my peace. My peace is what I protect. It means everything to me to come home, to be wherever I walk. I'm grounded. I'm good. I'm at peace. And I know a lot of people don't have that. I think that's huge. Really have to take care of ourselves that way.
And that's where it shows up so strongly. It could be a relationship with a loved one. It can be how we perceive stress. And we filter in. Alan started with choice and accountability, and he was talking through, how am I responding to this, or how am I creating this, and going through all those aspects. I will tell you, it matters how we interpret it. It matters how we assign those emotions. And Benet, look at what you did. You chose to create a whole different pathway.
And
I think
tell you,
so powerful.
I made that choice. I didn't think it was possible to do it a single mom and raise two boys, because life could get challenging and hard, but I did. And the outcome has been beautiful, beautiful. And all those people that talked all the nasty stuff, they see my ex-husband now, and they see me, and they're like, "Wait, Bennett grew. She actually did this, this, this. And where's her ex?" Like the outcomes will show, no matter what is being said, just believing in yourself and going forward. It's just, I could cry about it, just how beautiful it's the journey.
So Benet, I have an ex-husband too, and with children, 4 kids together, and we just chose to do it differently. They invite me over for Christmas Eve. I cook Thanksgiving dinner, And instead of the kids having to split between us and do all that, you know what I mean? We
Yes.
can, people think that's so weird.
It's not. It's a beautiful thing.
I
Like,
know, but they look, I go, yeah, that's my ex-husband. That's his wife, Christy. And she laughed. She says, yeah, I'm the other woman. And we can laugh about it now.
yeah.
But I'm so glad for that because it relieves the strain actually for the kid for my kids
Yes.
and my
Yeah.
grandkids, you know. And I finally have a grandchild old enough. He'll be 12 on his next birthday, okay? And Malcolm said to me, he goes, wait, wait. So you used to be married to Grandpa Kevin? And I said, yeah. And we made your dad. And then your dad and your mom made you. And you now have two grandmas and you've got three grandmas and two grandpas and da 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 da. And that's why. And there's even that just means more love.
Yeah.
Oh,
But he had to figure that out in his head. He was like,
yeah.
oh. And so Grandma Christie is not I he had to figure it out. And I'm glad because families look all kinds of ways, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And yeah, and the better that we can get to back to love, get back to people matter. And Kevin and I made the conscious choice when we divorced to make it good for the kids. So there was no push pull or, and we took out the family matrix model of we're the big ones, they're the little ones. Okay. And our relationship is none of their business.
That's right.
And their only job is to be loved and supported. And that's what we've all tried to do is love and support the kids and the grandkids. And it's been really lovely. I'm glad we made that choice years ago.
How beautiful is that? Bravo to
Yeah.
you. Seriously, there's a lot of ex couples that can't even conquer that.
I
You,
know. And the other woman got to be a part of that and
yeah.
said, I totally loved and accepted her.
Mhm.
And I didn't make it
I
that.
think that's the most beautiful thing. I
Yes.
think that's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
What,
I have two children, actually four children that's had divorces, but one daughter's remarried, the other daughter remarried and had a second divorce. But they all just they're they're not like this. They're not like what you're saying. But my
well, it's a
first,
lot of work. You have to do your own inner work to
yeah,
not get triggered.
yeah.
Okay. And I could make it hard and the energy weird with his new wife. Or I could say, hey, Christy, I want you to know that I totally accept your relationship. Okay. And she was able to say to me, well, I understand that you came before me and that you have rights and privileges. And again, we're using the family matrix model, but to actually say it in real life and then go from there. And I always, if the kids are in town and we do a dinner or an activity, everybody's invited. And I consider the son that they had together, I call him, his name is Ben, I call him my bonus son.
Oh,
And I always invite him to everything, even if I'm doing something with all the kids. And he comes over to see me on Mother's Day.
oh,
So
Oh,
I
isn't
know,
that wonderful?
yeah, I know it's a really different sort of model, but we had to consciously choose it and really plan it out and talk about it. And there's a few times I got some sessions because I felt like, you did me wrong. You had an affair. And now I'm really grateful because, if he hadn't have done that, I don't know that I would have ever had that um, healing experience. It forced me to go deeper into my own inner work. And for that, I can be grateful
The other
to both
thing
of
that I
them.
think is really
Wow.
important to notice here for Benet and for Linnell in that they shared this powerful learning process and experience pathway is look at the light that they created in all the relationships that they're a part of. There are people being inspired by them. There's people now that go to Benet and say to her, oh, Benet grew, Benet did this, Benet did that. And they suddenly recognize they have the potential. What if they can grow? What if they can? And the same, Margie, for you asking. Linnell said it very clearly that every one of us get to create. Like, do I want to just take it on as a big burden and frustration with a in-law, or sometimes we jokingly say an outlaw? Or are we going to find a way to find same ground, common ground? And are we going to be accepting of one another? So I really love that was a lot of wonderful personal sharing that we can implement, and I can implement in my own life. I'm not obligating anyone else, but I'm inspired by it. I think it's great. And we lost an A in there somewhere.
I would like to tell you something. My daughter, after she was married 19 years, her husband came to her and said that he was gay, and he had been gay before the marriage, 19 years before, and he had had a double life, and he'd been having an affair with a guy for all these years of 19 years. And they had 3 children. And my daughter was in so much shock, she couldn't believe it. But he wanted a divorce, and they divorced. But the good thing about it is that the children still want to love their dad.
Yeah.
And so sometimes he now was remarried this man. So he's got an apartment, another, what would you call? I don't know what you call him.
Husband.
Anyway, a husband, or whatever. And she's remarried a man. And so she's very happy. But that's kind of the same thing they've done a little bit, because the children want to be with their father. And so they've been able to do that, but to also have this other man with them. So that's been a good thing for them. But I've never heard of it, going in and cooking the meals and doing things like this, like you did. I just think that's just, a heaven sent experience to bring that love to the forward,
Yeah.
I'm just touched by it.
Well, I know I got to turn the time back to Alan because we're almost at 8, but I just wanted to thank everyone for sharing, because I learn a lot from other people by what they actually have gone through. So thank you, Alan, for leaving that time for all the sharing.
Oh, thank you. It's been so nice to hear. I'd like to have a closing song. This is one that Tyler created, and but I just. Oh,
I love these songs. Yay!
Oh,
Art,
try again.
you sure you want to show?
There we go.
I am not hearing music. If that.
I can't hear anything either.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I must have forgot to include the sound. Just a moment here. I'll try again. Okay, just do that. That's what happens when you try to host your own share. So, try again. There we go. And share. Thanks for the feedback. There we go.
Yeah. I don't need your theater with Punch and Judy, I'm not fine. They're made to look like enemies, only I see a guy behind. The cardboard stage with both hands running up the spine of hijacked puppets dishing out black eyes. One may look as though they've won a trifle or a fight, meant to make me feel good for having never picked a side. And when the show was over, it's quiet for a time until I realize Puppet Man made off with my dime. Something's making noise and that something needs no name. If it's an enemy to kindness, I'm exposed to being played. So I play my part, not just part of it. Puppet Man can make this movie, might place me on a square. Only I control my mood, I can pass along everything passed along to me, or I can stop it in its tracks and set a new current free. I don't know what thief my strength, it's so much less my time. I won't give my energy to a peddler for my mind. Can't control the chessboard, only where I now step. Nobody owns me and my space is not for rent. Whether I find myself at the beginning and the middle, I can make my own wave even inside a ripple. I may feel like I'm in Wonderland, the rabbit hole runs deep. The ostrich holds no better, blocking information feeds. Wisdom's telling me, don't get stuck in either one. And awakening's at hand, this time the prompt is mine to run. Sharks are always there at times, making money out of strife. They'll even open prior wounds and get everyone to fight on both sides. We might reveal a mix of truth with lies as we wonder what happened to two wrongs don't make a right. Something's making noise and that something needs no name. If it's an enemy, the kindness I'm exposed to being played. So I play my part, not just part of it. Puppet man can make this movie, might place me on a square. Only I control my mood, I can pass along everything passed along to me, or I can stop it in its tracks and set a new current free. I don't know what thief my strength, and so much less my time. I won't give my energy to a peddler for my mind. Can't control the chessboard, only where I now step. Nobody owns me, and my space is not for rent. Whether I find myself at the beginning and the middle, I can make my own wave, even inside a ripple. Tranquility among us is often tested for some gain. If it jeopardizes peace, somewhere it's just bait. Opportunists for such things often lie and wait to draw upon our actions, hoping we'll fall in love with hate. Well, love's a higher thing, it plays itself on higher strings. It cuts through the many lies, making my world more discerning. It's more than just affection, it escapes things that destroy. I'm gonna own my space right now so nothing else can fill the void. Something's making noise and that something needs no name. If it's an enemy, the kindness I'm exposed to being played. So I play my part, not just part of it. Puppet man can make his move, he might place me on a square. Only I control my mood, I can pass along everything passed along to me, or I can stop it in its tracks and set a new current free. I don't know what thief my strength, and so much less my time. I won't give my energy to a peddler for my mind. Can't control the chessboard, only where I now step. Nobody owns me, and my space is not for rent. Whether I find myself at the beginning and the middle, I can make my own wave, even inside a ripple. There's a fear that's a construct, and it's all human made. It keep me blind and running all my life throughout a maze. It's time to question everything, not just the confines of the cage. Reflects the provocation, only keeps me in a game. Out on the track, a better place on a name. I may feel victory if my hero gets first place and laughing all the way to the bank. Someone else is getting more than just paid. Puppet man who owns all the horses in the race. Divide and conquer is not a new thing. Neither false cohesion or mob mentality. Both are used to take advantage of me. Whether I find myself at the beginning and the middle, I can make my own wave, even inside a ripple. Something's making noise and that something needs no name. If it's an enemy, the kindness I'm exposed to being played. So I'll play my part, not just part of it. Puppet man can make his move, he might place me on a square. Only I control my mood, I can pass along everything passed along to me, or I can stop it in its tracks and set a new current free. I don't know what thief my strength, and so much less my time. I won't give my energy to a peddler for my mind.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
I'm glad everybody could come tonight.
Yes, appreciate your time and everything, every contribution. I really appreciate your what you said. And
Yeah, I love it.
I've missed it for 2 weeks because I had a choir I was in and we were performing. But then tonight I was able to see half of it, so I was grateful to be here. Can I call you, Linnell? Would that work?
Yeah, you call me tomorrow. I need to go help my mom right now, but
okay. What time tomorrow is good?
Okay,
what time
anytime.
tomorrow is good?
Give me a ring. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. So good to see all your smiling faces. You guys bring joy to me.
It's really good. The first half is really good, Margie. Watch the recording. It's very excellent.
Okay. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure how